There's different meanings as to what a goldsmith does and what their technical exposure and abilities are based on where you learn your skills as a goldsmith. And some goldsmithing schools like Swiss and German and Swedish and English goldsmithing apprenticeships are very detailed. They follow a tradition and build upon a tradition of hundreds of years with regard to tooling and metallurgy, all those different aspects that are really quite sophisticated and also fall into watchmaking and things like that. My background, where I began, I was born in Budapest, Hungary. My family has a long, rich history in Hungary. The family roots go back to the time of the formation of Hungary as a country itself over 1,000 years ago. And so, you know, when you have a family that's been around that long, you're going to end up being part of history. And so there was that in our family. There was knighthoods in our family prior to my father's. I was knighted really in respect for my father. He had been knighted by the Hungarian knighthood for bravery during the Second World War, for acts of valor. Our family had left Hungary under the threat of death from the communist regime. It was 1956, it was during the Hungarian Revolution, and my father was one of the pivotal players in the revolution. So we had to escape, and we had to escape in the middle of the night, which we did. The Russian soldiers came to our door asking for my father. My father told them, your guys were here 20 minutes ago, they picked them up. So these guys left, and we left with the clothes on our back. And we snuck our way to the Austrian border as best as we can. Our escape was the truck that we were in was identified about 15, 20 miles before we got to the border. So we had to lose the truck and we had to make it the rest of the way on foot. We got to the border, the Russians behind us, they opened fire. The Austrians gave us cover fire, rescued us, brought us over the bridge into Austria at a town called Andu. So anyway, there we were. We got out of Hungary by the skin of our teeth. We made it over to a Red Cross refugee camp in northern Italy, where we lived for about a year, and then ended up immigrating to Canada. It's interesting how I got into jewelry design. I was, from a very early age, I was interested in artistic things and sculptural things and building things and curious about doing things that hadn't been done. And the architectural detail of the city I got pretty used to and really had an impact in my subconscious, because I see it coming out in my work in certain architectural patterns and certain characteristics of this Eastern Europe aristocratic kind of thing that I was exposed to. Other things that I was exposed to were dead people on the streets, people hanging off of lampposts, violence, fear, darkness. One of the things it definitely did was it gave me a deep, deep appreciation for when it's not dark. For the beautiful and valuable things that are in the world and how beautiful and valuable they are. When you lose them, when you find them again, they hold much greater value. I knew that I needed to put my passion in the right direction, which was in art. So then I thought about how can I apply my artistic sensibilities, my ability to design, my ability to invent and create things that weren't around before. I decided to pursue jewelry because I was interested in rocks and gems and those sorts of things, and metals, and also in wood. And at that point, I decided if I'm going to do this, I'm going to get the best instruction I can get, because I want to be as good at this as I can possibly be and maximize my potential. That led me to Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, where there were some amazing, at that time back in the early 70s, some amazingly successful and talented Swiss and German goldsmiths and designers. And so I was able to become a part of that system and learn from all of these highly skilled master goldsmiths and the process they went about for designing and creating and making jewelry and goldsmithing. So I was privy to a classical type of training in North America, which is usually only available in Europe. So I progressed pretty quick, loved what I was doing, evidenced by the fact that I would go home and do it after I've done it all day long. And I was just driven to learn and evolve as much as I possibly can. And to this day, I'm exactly the same way. Generally in the industry, you'll have a designer, and you'll have a goldsmith, and you'll have a diamond setter, and then the goldsmith will be subdivided into more specialized parts of goldsmithing, such as a polisher or a caster or that sort of thing. Master goldsmiths, which are often called prototype makers or model makers. Not all goldsmiths are designers, very few are. A goldsmith's advantage to designing a piece of jewelry is that when they do it, they understand the materials, the metals, the gems, and how it works. How it works.
What I love best about his jewelry is that everything about it is the best. And by that, what I mean is that the stones that he uses are the best. The metals that he uses are the best.
So we use alloys in our jewelry, our gold and platinum alloys that are really important for longevity and for proper wearability. Also, we use alternative metals like cobalt, chromium, steel.
And then passion. I mean, he's so passionate about what he does, and he just loves to tell you how he made this and the process he went through. And
so with the combination of these metals, some of them erode, some are brittle, some are non-eroding, some are malleable. So they all have their different characteristics and the different ways that they can be produced and manufactured.
The way that he designs it is meticulous. The time that he puts into it, to make it by hand is absolutely phenomenal.
Those are very important for me for designing a piece of jewelry, because I'm able to optimize and use the best materials for the best things.
And the end product is truly a masterpiece, and it's something to be treasured. I call it artwork that I wear, and then that I know that I'm going to be able to hand down to my daughter. She's going to be able to wear it and enjoy it, and then she's going to be able to hand it down to her daughter. And I know that it's just going to be treasured on down the line.
The materials that we use are very important in how the jewelry piece not only looks initially, but looks after years of use and years of wear.
When I put a ring on, or when I put my piece of jewelry on, I pretty much wear it, and I wear it hard.
So metallurgy and material knowledge and gemology are very, very important, because that knowledge is going to tell you about durability, wearability, how it functions, where it works, where it doesn't work, all these different aspects.
And Zoltan knows that when I buy something, that I am not necessarily delicate with my jewelry.
So the material science part of jewelry making is something that is very important.
And he will tell me, you'll be okay wearing it, because I have made it to be worn. And so I'm not afraid to come in here and buy things that look absolutely delicate, but they are made to be durable.
I think it's very important. So I have the kind of knowledge I need in materials in order to push the envelope, stretch the envelope.
These are just absolutely incredible, durable pieces of jewelry.
So her jewelry to her is very personal, and she loves her jewelry. So when you're designing a piece of jewelry, you want to glorify the human. You don't want the human to glorify the jewelry. So you have to have the jewelry work on that person.
And what I love about him, and this is what makes his jewelry exquisite, is that he took the time to actually lay it on my neck, and he bent the certain pieces exactly where they needed to be molded so that it would lay perfectly on my neck. And to me, that's a master craftsman of exquisite jewelry. I just love that about him.
She came in here a little while ago. Her engagement ring and her wedding ring had worn out, so she needed to have it redone.
I had my wedding ring redone. It had some damage to it, and of course I would only trust Zoltan to redo anything.
I said, sure, and we'll do this and we'll do that, and she was all agreeable to that.
And then he turned to me and said, what is it that you want done? And I looked at him and I said, really, I would like the essence of my ring to remain.
And then she took it off her finger to hand it to me so I could, place it in the proper job bag and put it through the process. And I noticed she started crying. And I realized, this means so much to her, and it means so much to me that she's willing to entrust me with this very important thing of hers. And that's a blessing.
And so just by letting him know that I wanted the essence of my ring, I knew that I could trust his instincts with that, because he's very good at that.
What I did with her piece of jewelry, her wedding ring, was I basically duplicated the concept. I changed the materials so that they wouldn't wear out. And another change I made in it was I made the piece more ergonomic so it doesn't roll around on her finger. And the piece was also made with more finesse so that it looked more elegant.
And just like with the piece that he's making right now for me, he had captured exactly what I had in my mind but couldn't have verbalized. He did it perfectly.
Because it was so important for her the way it was, and she wanted the same, only she wanted the Zoltan David version of it. And usually when a piece comes back after being on tour and on display, and these award-winning pieces, that's what happens to them. When they come back, I usually put them in the showcase, and I usually, in this business, you've always got a stack of bills to pay. That's probably about that big. And so I put it in the showcase, and usually within a day or two or a week or so at the most, somebody comes in and buys the piece. It's a very expensive piece, and usually I just go, great, yahoo.
I fell in love, as soon as I walked in, I fell in love with the original ring. It was a 13-karat rubelite and beautifully set. It has just, the work on it was exquisite.
And so this one piece that Caroline really liked, I had made a decision when it got back, that's it, I'm not selling this piece.
And he seemed a little hesitant, and it took a long time for him to finally come forward and say, well, I was actually going to give it to Patty.
Because Patty doesn't have any of the award-winning pieces. They've all been sold.
Of course, I was devastated because I really wanted the ring.
Well, what I did, I didn't tell her it was not for sale. The first thing I did was increase the price on it, hoping that she would balk and say, oh no, it's not for me. And so she didn't balk. So I had to tell her that it's not for sale.
But I did understand, since he had made the ring and he won the award, and I thought, of course, if I was his wife, I would want it as well.
But she wanted one like it anyway. So then we went about and found the proper gemstone for her and recreated the piece in her size.
So I came home and there was a message from Patty, and the message said that that Zoltan had remade the ring, the rubelite ring that I had so loved. And I was excited, and so I went ahead and told Bill, and we went out for our anniversary in November. Right away I recognized my ring, and I think I just burst into tears because it was my ring that I so desperately wanted.
As I've gotten to know them, I can tell that they care about each other very much, and it's a beautiful thing to see how they care for each other, how they involve themselves with each other, and they're just a Beautiful family with a great energy. Right now I'm making a new piece for her, which was a rough piece of emerald that when their family was on a hiking trip, on a little exploration trip, they found this piece of rough emerald.
When they went to the Natural Bridge Caverns, they had cleaned off some.
You can search for, they give you a bag of rocks and you can clean them, and you know, there's all kinds of different types of rocks. They said there could be emeralds, or it could be diamond, it could be anything in there.
I brought him this rough stone that he had polished.
Now it's being incorporated into this pendant that's going to have the family birthstones in it, and it's all surrounding this one big goofy looking emerald. It's not a very nice stone, but it is a very interesting stone, and we're going to take this interesting stone and we're going to tell a beautiful story around it that I think is a metaphor for Bill and Carolyn and their love for each other and their family.
When he showed it to me, I thought, I told him, I said, you came up with what I couldn't even verbalize in my mind, what this should look like, and it's just beautiful. I can't wait to see it finished.
And it's a good example of the importance of jewelry, of how it'll play in people's lives. Now imagine if you're a designer and you're the kind who's innovative and inventive, but you've also mastered goldsmithing and diamond setting. It's a huge advantage.
Every single time that I look at something that I've worn, I find something special about it each and every time.
Because now you can come at things with metallurgy knowledge, you can come at things with gemological knowledge.
He takes the time to put those sparkles in places that I think no other jeweler does.
How things work mechanically, how they work ergonomically, the real world of jewelry on a person's hand.
And it fits comfortably, and it just fits you like a glove, and it just forms to you.
Now you've got a tool belt with a whole bunch of tools in it.
And so he truly does the best with every aspect of your jewelry.
It's very rare that someone is accomplished at all of these things.
That was the end of my search for finding the perfect jeweler. I just love him and his enthusiasm for doing the best work.
So that's where I'm at. I'm a designing goldsmith diamond setter. So I know those skills very well. They're the skills that have put bread on my table for years, and so this is what I do.